What's going on, everybody? Today I want to tackle the question about predicting injuries, all right? And we can even go so far as to say predicting illness. So, can we predict injuries? Can we predict illnesses? Honestly, to a fair degree of certainty, yeah, there's a good chance for us to do that, given the combination of certain subjective things that our clients and athletes tell us, combined with objective data that we are gaining from more wearable devices and more technology. So we'll go into each of these a little bit, but I think it's kind of an interesting conversation, an interesting topic to get into, talking about injuries and predicting them, because up until this point, most people think that they just kind of happen and it's very random, it's by chance. And well, there is some, truth to that. We are getting a lot better at finding information that will give us a better lens into a person's world, and more importantly, into their physical well-being. So, without really, further ado, so we'll start talking about subjectively, right? So what are the red flags that I look for when somebody tells me a little bit about their training, a little bit about what's going on in their world, right? So very, very important as a coach or a medical professional, anybody who's dealing with any kind of active individual, to get an idea of how they're doing, right? And so having good conversations every single time I talk to them, or more importantly, if it's a new client of mine, when they first come into the office. So things like, overall, how are you managing your life? How is stress? How is sleeping? How's eating? Things like that, right? A general idea of their well-being. So, how do you feel? How are your workouts? Do you feel like you're hitting your targets? Do you feel like you're stressed out? Are you stressed out from work? Are you stressed out from life in general? Are you stressed out from maybe personal relationships, things like that? So, what is your stress levels like? And how is that going to affect your body, right? How are your workouts going? Do you feel like your workouts are as easy as they should be? Do you feel like your easy workouts are actually harder now? Do you feel like you can't recover well enough after your workouts? These kind of things also give us an idea of what's going on inside that person, when they're being active. So very, very important as well there. Sleeping habits. How are you sleeping? Do you feel like you're well rested? Do you feel like you're burning the candle at both ends? Do you feel like you're sleeping, but you're not getting quality sleep, right? Or do you feel like you wake up unrefreshed? Do you feel like you're always dragging going into your workouts? You're struggling to get energy, right? That's something that's also going to be very important for us to understand. And I really do want to emphasize that burning the candle at both ends. Intuitively, we all been there. We know that, we've heard of it, but are you just kind of just go, and you feel like you're running on empty, and you're really just not given a chance to kind of bring your body back down from the stress levels of day-to-day life. So from a subjective standpoint, these are the things that I'm looking at. And if anybody tells me that they fit into these categories, if that sounds like them, immediately they're at increased risk of injury. Okay, and so we want to find some way to manage that. I want to see if I can give them some advice as far as mitigating those risks, right? How can we manage your personal life and your stress levels, but at the same time manage your physical targets and maybe modify your workouts. Now, maybe that means we modify your intensity. Maybe that means we modify your total volume. Maybe we give you a day off. Maybe we just say, you know what, go for a walk. Bag whatever workout you had planned. I just want you to go for a walk today or tomorrow, right? So those are the ways that we can kind of mitigate and fight against any of those red flags that might pop up when we're talking to a person from a subjective standpoint. Yes, there are many other things that we can talk about, but by and large, those are the really important ones, all right? So we're going to take a look at overall stress levels, how your workouts are feeling, sleep, things like that. So, from a subjective standpoint, let's check those boxes off, right? Now, how can we complement that, all right? The new wearable data, right? We know technology is thriving and we're getting a lot of great information from it. So, we love the Garmins in our clinic. Yes, there are other companies out there, other products, but we love the information that Garmin is giving us in terms of objectively tracking our athletes. We're fortunate that we're part of this dashboard that's almost a beta test for using a lot of the data from the Garmin watches, right, and the Garmin devices. So it gives us a lens into the person's physical well-being. And we have a number of athletes and a number of clients on this dashboard for us, where we have them wear this as often as they can, whether it's working out, sleeping, eating, everything, as often as they can, to really get the best snapshot of what's going on in their world, right? So again, this is the objective data to complement the subjective part. Now, what do we get from this? we get a lot of great information, most importantly, information regarding sleep, quality of sleep, and then stress levels, right, from their workouts or from their day-to-day lives. So we like to compare those, right? So what is your stress level like, and what is your recovery and sleep level like? More importantly, your quality of sleep, right? And more importantly, from a stress levels, are you managing a consistent increase, right, rather than a sharp spike in the curve? So the good thing about that is it gives us a great aesthetically, it gives us a really great window to look at how this person's doing. So, throwing us some screenshots here, we can take a look at overall stress levels, green, yellow, and red. We obviously like to see our clients in the green. Green means go. Green is good, right? You get the green light from us. You're managing the level of intensity, the total volume, the duration. The changes are even at a steady increase rather than sharp spikes. What we don't want to see is your activity level and your stress levels rapidly rise against levels in the past. So this is great because we can see in here the red lines and the blue lines give us an idea of the stress that from the week that you're in now compared to the average stress from the past 28 days. We can even play with those timelines too, but most importantly, we're looking at what is the stress from now compared to the stress from the past that you've already recovered from. We don't want your stress now to really cross too high above that average of the stress that you've kind of experienced over the past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it might be, right? So we never want more stress now than what your body's been used to, because that's when your risk of injury goes up. So that's a really, really good thing for us. We can see that and we can track this and we can predict when that's going to happen. And so we may modify some of these workouts, whether it's their intensity, their total volume, whatever it might be. We use that as a good predictor of risk of injury and illness, and so we want to take that into account. Now, the other thing we could look at is somebody's sleep. So if we take a look at this window here, we could take a look at their sleep, and again, we want them in that green zone. We don't want them creeping into the yellow, creeping into the red. Now, life happens, right? Again, it might be stress from work, it might be stress from life. Anything can happen, right? Or maybe your routine is off and you're just not sleeping well, right? So quality of sleep matters. And so this data also gives us a snapshot into somebody's quality of recovery. So not only do we want you to train because you have to get better from training, but we want you to recover well also, right? And so that's why we really love this objective way to kind of look at somebody's body and see how they're recovering and see how they're training, right? Is the training appropriate? And is the recovery appropriate? And so as long as we can manage those two things, your risk of injury stays down. But if we can start to see, trends happen, right? Not a single data point. It's okay if you have one bad workout session or, 1 or 2 nights of sleep that's, poor quality. We're really looking at trends. So trends over time, and stress is cumulative on the body, and usually it's after a while things will start to break down. So this gives us a way to kind of stay ahead of the curve and kind of really nip it in the bud before you get yourself into a dangerous zone and you're going down that path of destruction. So that's where we kind of approach this. It gives a very scientific way of approaching that acute chronic workload ratio that we've talked about in the past. And so we really, really value this information that we get, from these wearable devices, and it's a great complement to the subjective criteria that people give us. So good questions go a long way with managing your clients, and that's something we really try and promote, is listening to people, asking a lot of good questions, day to day, week to week, right? Staying in touch with people, really finding out how things are going and making appropriate changes. And then obviously kind of tracking their trends with whatever information we can get. That hard data does tell us a lot if we know what we're looking for. So we really value this information. Our clients love it. And as far as predicting risks of injury, yeah, we're fairly confident we can do this. This is the data that was used to predict COVID and illness with a high degree of certainty over the past couple of years. So very, very valuable information, really cool stuff. We happen to love it, but we're also self-proclaimed nerds. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. We love your feedback on this kind of stuff. If you're interested more about the dashboard, also please let us know. Again, our clients love it and we love it, and it's just been really good all around. So again, any questions, let us know. Otherwise, happy training.